Hey everyone, so today I'm going to be showing you guys how I set up my planner for the school year and just give you guys some organizational tips that I follow. I like to be organized when it comes to school stuff. My home life, not so much, but I do like to plan everything out so that I don't forget things because I tend to be forgetful sometimes, and I like to just have everything written out and in front of me, and I just personally find it therapeutic to, write in my calendar and plan stuff out. So I'm just going to show you guys how I personally do it and how I set up myself for the new school year. And yeah, so hopefully you guys can follow along and maybe I can give you guys some tips and you become a more organized person. So here is my planner. And I got this planner from Barnes & Nobles, and it is a Kate Spade planner. I believe it retails for $36. And I just absolutely thought this was the cutest thing. And it's a pretty hefty planner. It's got some good weight to it. And this is I think this is like the medium sized one. They do have one that is larger. I believe maybe about that much larger. It is significantly larger and significantly heavier. But I got I think this is the small one, or maybe there's a smaller one than this. But this is like the in-between. So in comparison to my hand, this is how big it is. It's a pretty decent sized planner. So I'm going to open it up for you guys and show you guys how I've planned for the new year. So at the beginning of every semester, I like to go ahead and print out all of my syllabi for my classes. And I, excuse me, and I just set up everything in advance. So what I do is I print out all of the syllabus or the syllabi for my class, for all of my classes, and I go through their calendars and I write down, the first thing I do is I write down all of the due dates. And what I did was over here, I made a little key. So I use a different color pen for each class, so that I can look at this and be like, okay, that pink pen is for this class. So I don't have to write what class it is next to this, because these squares are pretty small and I'm trying to fit as much information in these squares as possible. And then over here, there's a little note section. And over here, I like to write any bill that I will have to pay before the end of the month. So I have a list of all the credit card bills and all of, just any bill that you know that you need to pay, whether it be rent or whatnot. Put it over here so you can see it. So what I have done is, in the black ink pen, that is non-school related stuff. It's just stuff in my life. Like here, it was my dog's birthday and I have rehearsals. But in the colored pen is everything that I have that is pertaining to school. And I'll show you maybe in the month of September. There's more school stuff here and I can zoom in and show you guys. So as you can see, the pink pertains to one class, the green pertains to another, and the blue is also for another class. I'm taking 3 classes this semester. And anything that is in the black ink or regular ink is just for me, my personal life. So some tips I have for you guys would be to print out all of your syllabi and paperwork and calendars that your teachers provide for you, because even though I do have it all written down in here, I do have a hard copy. And I'm going to show you guys bi-weekly now, because in this calendar at the beginning of every month it shows you the month layout, but then you go through and it gives you the daily, weekly layout. So what I like to do also is, after I have put any due dates down on this first calendar, I go through, and in the same colored ink, I go through and I write it on each individual day that is due. Just so you know, I have it, because this is what I look at during the school year. This is where I make my list and I do each thing per day. So I also need to make sure that the due dates are listed on here so that I don't forget to look at that front page. The more you can remind yourself, the better. And so what I do is I write down anything that is due, and then I go back and after I've written down all of the due dates and all of the exams for anything, I go back, and if there's anything that I need to read, like a chapter that I have to read prior to a class, I go ahead and I put that in there. And I plan out my semesters. So if you know you need maybe 2 days to read a chapter, go ahead and whatever date that chapter is due, go back 2 days and write read chapter, or read this case, or read this, or do this, or study for this exam. So like if I have an exam, say I have an exam here, I'll go back a week and I'll write study for exam. So I know there's an exam coming up shortly, and I can scroll through and see, hey, when is this exam? Because there's nothing worse than like being on the same page and it's Wednesday and you realize you have an exam on Thursday, but you didn't give yourself a reminder to study for it, you know? And then what I also love to do is I go in and I highlight anything that is due, or if it's to study for a test. If it's something that I physically have to turn in and I have to get it done, I highlight it. So things that I don't highlight are like read chapter so-and-so, or do this, or like read this book or whatever, because to me, in terms of importance, it is more important to turn in physical work as opposed to reading stuff. So like on this day, all of the things that are highlighted, I know that I have to do, and I have to get that done first. And then if I still have time, I will go back and I will do the reading of a chapter or whatever. So if it's highlighted, that just means it is urgent, and I have to do that because I have to physically turn that in to get a grade for it. And this calendar is so cute because at the beginning of every month, it tells you, you know, like this month you should, like for October it says, this is the month to sip hot cider, buy a new pair of boots. It's a very cute, girly calendar or planner. So I mean, if you love planners, I would totally recommend this. It is a pricey planner. You're basically paying for a brand name, but it is actually a really cute planner. And a big tip, you guys, is give yourself time. Realistically plan stuff out. Like if you know you need like 2 weeks to study for an exam, go back 2 weeks and write in study for exam. Like don't write it in like the class before or the day before. Like give yourself, like truly think about yourself and how much time you need to get something done, and write it in there. Don't be embarrassed. If you need 3 weeks to study for a test because you suck at studying, then go ahead, go back 3 weeks and write it in. Study for this test that's coming up in 3 weeks, you know? Be realistic with yourself. And also, if something that I didn't do, but I kind of wish I did, was because I went ahead and I wrote things for classes ahead of time. I didn't leave any space in between 2 different classes, so you might want to do that in case there's something, because plans always change, classes outlines always change, so if you need to go in and like write something else on a separate line, you know, so maybe leave some space in between each class, which I did not do, but I mean I'm okay with that. Usually my classes stick to a pretty tight schedule, but yeah, so hopefully I was able to help you guys out with that. And yeah, so if you guys have any questions regarding planning or anything like that, please ask me in the comments down below, and I will talk to you guys later.